You're just gonna have to excuse where we're at. I know it's not very bright, but it's also 29 degrees. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today, it's so fucking cold, I can't even think about what I'm trying to say. Today, we are talking about books because I didn't have anything to film and I love books and I didn't realise how many books I've bought really recently, as in like past 2 months. So I thought I'd talk about them. I'm also going to do a second part of this. Why can't I speak? First half of this video is a book haul. Second half is what I've read in the past 2 months. So I think we should jump right into it. Also, I do just want to say that getting my phone into this fucking stand broke my nail. So I'm not very happy about that. I am also sat in front of a £2 Home Bargains fan, and I do have my Fanley, which means fake Stanley in this house. So everyone, it's so hot. I put ice in this maximum 10 minutes ago, already melted. Anyway, let's get into the haul. This isn't in any order because I don't remember when I bought them, but I know they're new and that's all that matters. So I think I just organised them into the exact dates that I bought them in. This is magical. So starting off really strong. But bear in mind I haven't read any of these. So I'm really excited to read them. I don't know when I'm going to get around to them, but I'm sure I will at some point. Okay. Also, oh my god, I got my first Sunny Angel this week. I went to town to see my friend Leah. We also went to Tate McRae, which was fantastic. And I got a Sunny, and look at his little bum on the back of my Kindle. Look at him. He's one of the dreaming ones, and he's a panda. For ages, I thought it was a koala. Obviously, a freaking panda. Anyway, sorry, I just saw him and I got really excited. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I don't know how many people know this, but TK Maxx does really good book discount deals. The first two I got were from TK Maxx because they were cheap. I think they were. I've taken the labels off, but that's okay. I think they were like $3.99 each, which I think is really, really good. Maybe $2.99. So the first book I got is Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I've not read any of his books. I've not read any of his books. I've heard that this is a mammoth to get through. I think it's a mammoth just because of the content, not necessarily because it's so long. And also, the font, to be fair to him, is quite small. I have a feeling that TK Maxx does these so cheap because what is it called? What is it called when, like, because the author's passed away and I think the copyright has ended, so like you can like publish them and they can look like whatever you want them to. I think that's what this is all about, because obviously this is not the original copy, but this is the Wordsworth classic version. I don't know how many pages it is. I also, guys, I have no idea what it's about, but I do know that it's a question of like morality and philosophy, and those are my favorite types of books ever. So I thought I'd pick it up because I don't know when I'm going to be able to get a copy that is this good condition again, because the book's so old, you know? Like, I feel like it'd probably be in a Chazza. I don't know, like, how good the copy will be, you know? So I just picked it up. On a similar vein, I picked up Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I was going to say I have no idea what it's about, but there's a really small blurb, so I'm just going to read that. Tale of Ambition, Identity, and True Meaning of Wealth. Interesting. I think this is going to be quite difficult to push through, but I feel like I just need to give it a go because I actually haven't read that many classics. I'm such a fantasy girl that, like, I just haven't really. So I picked it up and yeah, I'm excited about it. I wonder when this book is set. I literally don't know. Does that say Dr. Seuss? I have no idea. There's a signature. Sorry, the fan is blowing this around. But there's a signature at the front. Well, Charles is dead, so I'm not sure whose that is. It must be Charles Dickens. But it literally looks like the end of the word says Seuss. Child, anyways. I also think the copy's really, really cute. And it looks nice, like, stood up on a shelf. Like, that's just, like, cutesy, you know? Like, to me, that looks like a fantasy. Which is kind of dangerous. I think there's, like, this whole issue going around at the moment is like books are being published looking like romances and they're literally not. And also like aren't like young kids picking up like adult romances thinking they're like kids books. Like that's really scary to me. I saw Jack Edwards talk about that and really interesting. Next book I bought is, why did I get this? I got this in a charity shop for £2. Period. Thank you very much. Because it's a cloth bound classic of Wuthering Heights. It's not very bright in this room, sorry about that. But I just think the cloth bound classics are stunning. Also, never read it. And isn't a film with Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi coming out. I'm not happy about that casting, because I do know that the main guy in here, I think, is supposed to be South Asian. Jacob Elordi, South Asian. Anywho, I think in this current climate, we're really going through a crisis of actors. Like, it's like no one is new. Like, I literally saw on Instagram today, it's like Denis Villeneuve is going to be directing the new Bond film, and his top girls for Bond girls are Zendaya and Florence Pugh. Bear in mind, I love those girls. However, they're in every film ever made. As they should be. Get that money, but I do think it would be really nice to see someone else. Right. Next book that we're going into. I was with my friend Donya, and I wanted all three of these books for ages. I mean, two of them have just come out, but I was intrigued by them like months before they came out. I was just waiting for their release date. And then I was broke when they came out. So I've got them now. So I buffed all three of them out at once in Waterstones, which was a very expensive mission, but I'm really glad I did it because they are beautiful. The first book is The Will of the Many by James Islington. Bomba! That is massive. That is huge, bro. All I know, fantasy set at an academy. Delicious. And discussion on hierarchy and social class and morality and falling into the trap of capitalism. Yes, please. If you know me, you know that like one of my favorite series of all time is Red Rising, and what's his name? One of my favorite male booktubers, I think. I'll put his tag here. I don't remember, but I literally love him. And he has read Red Rising and has read Will of the Many. And what else has he read? One of the other books that I got here, and he lurfed them. So I'm really, really excited about this. I don't know much about it. All I know is that I was waiting for the hardback to come up because the paperback, literally everywhere. Why paperback's £22? Like, that is crazy. Just, it really is a recession indicator, isn't it? Also, I went into Primark today with my mum. I was looking at the pyjama shorts. Why are like literal pyjama shorts made out of whispers of material £4.50? I remember back in the day when they were £2 a pop. Makes me feel a bit sick, to be honest. £4.50. And I looked at a dress and I was like, 16 quid in Primark. And my mum just started laughing at me. She was like, Roxy, £16 is cheap. I was like, for fucking who? Because that is an abomination, in my humble opinion. Anyway, all I know, set in a republic, and there's a fugitive who like pretends to be one of the people from this academy, but I think he ends up kind of falling into the trap of that. It's also a standalone fantasy, which I think is fantastic. I'm slightly scared of, because the thought of reading one book and it being done, in my little Red Rising, Hunger Games brain, like I'm waiting for a universe. So I think it'll be really interesting to witness an author who has done this so successfully, might I add, apparently, fully fledged a universe and an incredible system in like just these amount of pages, you know, which obviously it can be done, but I do think that we right now as like a book loving group are loving a series. Like currently I'm leaning on Cassandra Clare, like my whole stack of Cassandra Clare books, and I have 14 books here, and that is literally like one world. That is just the Shadowhunters world, you know what I mean? And I've read all but one. So sue me. The next book, guys, I'm so excited, both of my friends who I've previously mentioned in this video, I'm not going to say their names again because I'm giving them too much clout. It was so stupid. That was really dumb. That was stupid. Is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. And also just like, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true. Isn't this just like actually so pretty? Like, I actually can't go over it. I loved the... What is this series called? One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns. The Shepherd King duology. Did you see how that movement like helped me get whatever the frick, frack, brick, rack, and dack I was trying to say? Anyway, I am so excited to read this book. Both Donya and Leah have already read it and loved it. I think they both rated it like minimum 4.5 stars. All I know is it's about a nun and a knight, and the knight is called Rory, which is a really, really cute name. And I think it's like a dark fantasy with romance in it. But I think Rachel Gillig is just so good at like setting a scene and like what is the word I'm looking for? Her ambience. Sounds like I'm just trying to say Beyonce. Her ambiance is just like off the charts, I think. So she's just really good at writing vibes. I don't know if that's the best way of describing it, but I would say like that's what I love about her books. Does she have another book? Another series? I don't know. Nevertheless, I'm so excited for this one. Like literally like cannot wait for it. I'm currently reading Red Rising 4 and very, very slowly. Like I haven't, you'll find this out, but I haven't finished a book since the beginning of this month. And that's kind of rare for me. To be fair, I have been working and right now I have 2 jobs. So I'm booked and busy, but I think this could be like picked up within the next couple of weeks. So I'm very, very, very excited about that. Next one I picked up, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Small. Why do I even try? Hold on. I need some water to moisten the cords. That is the most disgusting sentence I think I've ever said in my life. That was gross. As I was saying, wrongly, I picked up Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. All I know is gothic, sapphic vampires drama. I think it's a book with not a lot going on, just vibes. And sometimes there's nothing better. So I can't wait. I also love V.E. Schwab's writing style, like generally. What have I read of hers? I almost said his Dark Materials. That's not it. I've read, guys, I literally have the images of both of the books of hers that I've read in my head. Vicious. Loved Vicious. Vicious was one of my top books last year. And I've read the one where the geezer jumps around in London. In the different Londons. I'll put an image of it up here because I can't remember. I like that. And there's 3 books in the series, and I think there's like a continuation, but I haven't continued it, and I'm not sure why. But it didn't. His Dark Magic. What the frick is that book called? It's really gonna bug me. Anyway, yeah, I just haven't finished continued the series, and I'm not sure why. I didn't have like much of a pull towards it. Maybe I should try. Let me know if it gets better as it goes on, because right now, like, I don't know, just haven't been called to it, but I've been very called to this one because anything with lesbians. Happy Pride Month. The next books I picked up, and I want to preface this very, very clearly. This author fucking sucks. I bought these books secondhand on Vinted. I've read these books before. I first read them actually probably too young at 13. And I'm rereading them for the element of nostalgia. I do not support her. She is like J.K. Rowling to me. And the books that I own of hers have been bought secondhand. And the author I'm talking about is highly problematic. And you probably know who I'm talking about if you're in the loop with problematic authors. It is Sarah J. Maas. I have to put this mic down to pick up the series to show you, but it is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Okay. With that being said, I do want you to be really, really, really jealous that I got the original trilogy in the original paperback because I think the new ones are fucking ugly. Also, the new black ones that are meant to be representative of the Night Court suck. Hate them. Love these. This is literally where my reading began, unfortunately. However, I got these on Vinted, all 3 of them for £12 from a lovely girl. If you don't know what the series is about, you're living under a rock, and I'm probably not going to explain them because I don't support her. Okay, I think it's actually very very hard to for me to talk about them in a moral sense, because you know how like if I'm talking about them, then I'm like giving press to them and more speech and whatever. But that's all I'm going to say on that. But the lovely girl who sent them to me also sent me this for free. This is Beartown by Fredrik Backman. I hope I said that right. I truly no idea what this is about, but I have the book. What's it called? A Man Called Ove, and it was free, so I just took it. Let's see what it's about. It says that Beartown is a small town in a large Swedish forest. Most of the year, it's under a thick blanket of snow, experiencing the kind of cold and dark that brings people closer together or pulls them apart. Its isolation means that Beartown has been slowly shrinking with each year, but now the town is on the verge of an astonishing revival. Bright new future is just around the corner, until the day it is all put in jeopardy by a single brutal act. Intriguing. Is that like a thriller? It divides the town into those who think it should be hushed up and forgotten, and those who will risk the future to see justice done. At last, it falls to one young man. Why does it always fall to one young man or woman? It falls to one young man to find the courage to speak the truth that it seems no one else wants to hear. With the town's future at stake, no one can stand by or stay silent. Everyone is on one side or the other. Which side will you be on? That's so interesting. No idea when I'm going to pick this up. Sometimes you just need a shelf filler, and this may be it for me for a while. Something I have noticed about myself is like the books that fill my shelves and I don't read for ages end up like being some of my favorite books I've ever read. So yeah, when I get round to it, I'll let you know. This feels more of like a winter read to me, so I'll probably put it off until later on in the year when it's not. Yeah. The final book I'm going to do a haul on. I'm trying to speed run this really, really quickly because I'm also trying to talk about all the books I read in May and June. Guys, this may be my best charity shop book find ever in my life. £2. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is my year of sci-fi. She says, reading one sci-fi series and picking up this. Like, am I okay? Anyway, this may be my like year of like falling into sci-fi, because I almost picked up War of the Worlds today in TK Maxx, but I didn't because the copy was like a pocket edition, like a cloth bound pop. Oh, guys. A cloth bound pocket edition. Whoa. Okay, I used to have a lisp when I was young. I think I'm doing pretty good. Okay. Anyway, Project Hail Mary. I've heard it's just an incredible sci-fi about one guy hurtling through space. And I think he like meets a robot or something. That's all I know. That's all I need to know. This was £2 in the British Heart Foundation. Need I say more? Absolutely not. I'm just loving sci-fi. I feel like sci-fi is such a phenomenal lens to convey like literally everything wrong on this planet, and I feel like that's really what I get from this, especially Red Rising. I feel like it's such a good mirror, and it's so complex, and it's such a good structure to use, and I just really find it so easy to like dive in there. So I'm really really excited about this. People are saying it's really funny and enjoyable, but all I've seen is people cry about it, and I love crying at books, so that's why I picked it up. Oh, he also wrote The Martian. And also, I found out today that Ryan Gosling is in the film, and the film comes out in 2026. So I'll make sure I read it before then. So yeah. Whoa. Oh my god. Okay, guys, we did it. Right, I'm going to put these books back where they belong, and I'm going to talk about all the books that I've read. Can I be bothered to touch them and hold them up and show you them? No. But am I going to be a good person? Yeah, I am. As I was saying, I'm a liar, and 3 of the books I actually did buy because I started the first book on Kindle, was McLovin' it. Then I got to the second book, was McLovin' it. And then was like, I need this series. And it was like £12 in the works altogether or something like that. So I just grabbed it. Okay. This is the thing with me, is that I actually don't understand what I spend my money on until I look at this and go, ah, okay, there is where I spend my money. Anyway, the first book of May was 1984 by George Orwell. I finished this on the 3rd of May. and oh my god, did I love it. So those are all of my orange little tabs. I tabbed and annotated this one. I wasn't planning to, but then I was like, right, I'm really intrigued in dystopian fiction. I think I'm going to look at concepts of dystopian fiction for my dissertation from September. So I decided to annotate it. If you don't know what 1984 is about, it's about what's the guy's name? I think his name's Winston. We're in a system where even your thoughts are policed and language has been altered. The standard of living is completely different, total indoctrination, concepts such as that. How far is a person willing to go for love? Is it love? Do you just end up following the regime you're born into? All of these sorts of questions. Honestly, I was expecting it to be a much, much harder read than it actually is. I thought it was incredibly accessible for when it was written. Obviously, it wasn't written that long ago, but I do think that it's a classic. So I think because of that label, it comes with such like a daunting presence, you know? But I thought it was really digestible, and I was reading it before bed. So probably not a good idea, but I was doing that and I was loving it. What did I rate it? This is my book journal, by the way. I wrote all of my thoughts and feelings in here. Oh, I rated it 5 stars. I was going to say minimum 4.5. I said it was phenomenal writing, much easier to read than I ever expected. I said it's incredibly reflective of where we're currently at, which I love. I love a book that just withstands the test of time. Anything that withstands the test of time. Interesting. I said that some reviews I've read, people said that the characters lack depth, but how can a character have depth when having an identity is literally outlawed? So, yeah, highly recommend this one. Pick it up if you haven't. I feel like everyone should read this at some point in their life, and I feel like it came at a really pivotal time for me. So, would highly recommend. The next book I read takes a slightly different turn, right? As I said previously, this author fucking sucks. I bought this book secondhand on Vinted. I do not support her. My money does not go to her. I read Assassin's Blade. Bear in mind, for the first time, which makes me feel sick, actually, slightly, and I loved it. This book is the through line for the series, and I didn't know that properly. Like, I read all of the other books, bar Tower of Dawn. I didn't finish Tower of Dawn either, which is just a bit silly. But I've been planning to do a reread of this series. It's been on my mind for a while. I think the author herself has been in a lot of discourse lately, and obviously she's really bringing young women back to reading, which I think is phenomenal. But I do think that because of her problems, I kind of fear that a little bit, and I think it's really important to talk about other books as well. And I'm saying that even though I'm talking about this one, which I totally get is so cliche and stupid. But if you don't know what Throne of Glass is, it's how many books is there? Maybe 7? 7-book series. Fantasy set in this world with humans, assassins, fae, magical creatures, witches. And in my opinion, it's the author who must not be named's best series. ACOTAR, that I showed before, when I was younger, it was my favourite, but I think that was just because I found the main guy really attractive. But I think this one has so much more political intrigue and discussion, which is really interesting considering her mindset, which is something I find really, really conflicting, is I don't understand how you can write a book condemning genocide and literally support one that happens in real life, you know? Anyway, I read Assassin's Blade. What did I rate it? I was rereading it with my friends. We've all read it before. We all don't support her. And I read it 4.5. And I finished that on the 4th of May. I didn't read them in a day. I had been reading this since like the 11th of March, on and off. I was just going through, because I think there's short stories in this one. I think there's maybe four or five. So I was doing a short story, then a break. Short story, then a break. Short, that type of vibe. But I did thoroughly enjoy it. And my sister is currently reading Throne of Glass, so she's got that book. We're sharing the series, so I will be continuing just for my own enjoyment. I think the next book I read, I don't have the physical copy of. And it's probably in here, the book I feel most conflicted about, and that is Sula by Toni Morrison. It's my first Toni Morrison book. I'm not sure if this was the best one to go for. I obviously haven't read any of her others as of yet. She, to me, when I think of Black American literature and the greats, I always think of Toni Morrison and James Baldwin. And I have, this is the first book of hers I've finished. I don't think I've read James Baldwin. I've studied some of his prose at university, but I haven't finished a novel of his. That is something I really, really want to get round to. I rated this book 4 stars. The prose was absolutely exceptional. Like, couldn't fault it. I think she's a fantastic writer. I think my only issue that I had with it is probably just because of the difficulty of the subject matter, which is exceptionally important to read about and have written. But I think due to my own experiences being of Black descent, I found it at times really, really difficult. I'm just thinking out loud that this just could be because I'm so used to reading sci-fi and fantasy that obviously explores these issues, but through a completely different lens that is much less close to home. Pardon the sci-fi pun. So I think that could be an element of it. I said at times I got lost because of all of the overlapping characters. It wasn't just one perspective, which I did really appreciate. But I think I struggled with the fact it wasn't like labeled out. But once again, I think that's because in fantasy, they write the like perspective of the character at the top of the chapter. And that isn't like the standard. I don't think it should be the standard. I think anyone should be able to write whatever fucking way they want. And if you like the book, you like the book. If you don't, you don't. But I just got confused because that's the method I'm most used to. However, I thought it was exceptionally well written, a really detailed and authentic portrayal of the Southern American Black experience. But it was harrowing and wasn't easy to swallow for me, which I was expecting. So she did her job really well, but I think probably because the issues were so like close to my home, I found it really, really hard to read, and that is okay. I finished that book on the, what does it say? I finished that on the 6th of March. May. I finished that on the 6th of May. So I'm actually surprised. I read it in 2 days, which I think is pretty good. But maybe that's why I found it difficult, is because I read it so quickly. But I do think an element of that was I was just trying to get through it because it was hard, not because I wanted the story to end or to not be reading this, but I just found it really difficult. And because I found it so difficult, I went for something very, very different and very nostalgic, but still new to me. And I picked up Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I got this trilogy on Vinted for £6 or something crazy like that. The covers are horrendous. Really not a fan of that. But this book is the most 2010s nostalgia that you can get, bar Shadowhunters, in my humble opinion. It was really, really entertaining, super, super fun. If you don't know what it's about a girl called Karou. She is white with, I'm not sure if it's Arab, North African, or Persian name, but it ain't white. There's a heavy Arab, North African influence in this, which I did appreciate, but I always just find it really funny when she's white with bright blue hair. You know, like, of course she is. Basically, it's about this girl called Karou who lives 2 lives, basically. She has her human life where she goes to uni, she's an artist, obviously. When are they not artists? Like, they're always some sort of creative, which I rate, but it's she's been done. Anyway, and her other life is like a magical one with demons and mythical creatures and things like that. And she doesn't know how this became her existence. And it's basically her unraveling that. The magical place is called Elsewhere, and one day the doors just shut and half her existence is like totally cut off from her. And she meets a boy, obviously, who just recognizes her for some reason, and her life changes from then. And guys, and it was giving Entertainment Weekly. I'm sorry about it. Like, I think I really needed something silly, goofy, goober, fun, silly, but well written to fill my cup, because Laini Taylor's writing is so good. She's really, really excellent at, what's the word I'm looking for? Whimsy. Like, I feel like her scenes are so well set. The settings are really, really strong. This is also set in Prague, I think, and I've never been there. And there's a lot of history in that city, and that was explored here. And it was just really, really fun. So if that's something you're looking for, I definitely recommend it. It's just goofy, goofy, girly, girly, booby. And I loved it. Right, guys, I'm going to have to put this down, my mic down, to show you the next 3 books that I read because they're all in one series. And I finished this on holiday and I had so much fun with it. I've read her other series, Shatter Me, and I don't even, honestly, I find it really difficult to describe that series. It's a dystopia, but it's like 65% vibes, 35% plot. And I think that's fair because Aaron Warner exists in that series. Oh my god, what is that in my mirror? Oh my god. I can't believe I've just noticed that. Has that been there the whole time? This is my mum always does something cute like this for Christmas. She gets me some sort of positivity like Christmas gift. And this is my like card a day. Let's change it together. What is the right way to do it? Right, this way. I always do it with my eyes shut because I don't want to be spoiled. But they're always so cringe and I love it. Think happy thoughts, guys. The series is This Woven Kingdom. I also think the books are actually really freaking pretty. This is the first book. This is the second book. This one, the pink, is so cute. And then the purple. And I don't think book 4's out yet. So that's really, really exciting. But if you don't know what this series is about, it's about this girl called Eliza. She's a servant. And she is not meant to be known for who she really is, which is a lost heir to a kingdom of jinn. And in this world, jinn are different from humans in the sense that they have magical abilities and that they're born with, I think. I think that's the difference. It's just so fun. I'm back. My sister came home. So I was just saying hi to her. But I was talking about This Woven Kingdom, and I was saying how Eliza is the lost heir to a Jinn kingdom. Always starts off with parents having died, and she's the only one, and she meets a prince called Cameron. What I really like about this book is you do get both perspectives, which is really, really nice. And for me, I'm trying my best not to spoil. I do think book 2 is the best in the series. It's all vibes, limited plot, which I just love. A lot of angst, a lot of like, will they, won't they, lots of I'm not meant to like you, but I really do type of vibe. I think Tahara Murphy is really, really good at doing that. And I think that I found the 3rd book quite difficult to get through. Like, I didn't enjoy it till like the final third of the book, which happens. I feel like I remember feeling that for one of the Shatter Me books. I think maybe book 2. Also, that series is so long and it's still ongoing. I think there's like a sequel series going on for that. Just thoroughly entertaining. It's in no way like impeccably written, I don't think. I'm sorry to Tahara Murphy. It's not bad at all, but it is so digestible and entertaining. I don't want to say it's surface level because it's not like the characters don't have depth. They definitely do. But I do think that there are more fantasy trilogies with slightly more depth. I think that the Arab influence is beautifully done. I also love it so much when the main girl is like incredibly beautiful that like the men are like, just love that. And the fact that she's a person of color just like makes it 10 times better for me. So yeah, there's that. I read the first book. When did I read the first book? I read the first book on the 23rd of May, and I'd finished the second book by the 25th. So whizzed through those. And then I kind of, oh my god, no. Oh yeah. And it took me 5 days to read the 3rd book. Like, I finished that on the 5 days. Is that good maths? Yeah, right. Awful with numbers. I finished All This Twisted Glory, which is book 3, on the 30th of May. I rated it 3 stars. it was really interesting because I really had to push myself through it. But as soon as I got to like the final third, which really, really picked up for me, I was desperate for book four. So I feel like that brought the rating up for me. But I only rated it 3 stars. It was by no means bad, but it wasn't like amazing, you know? Like it's not very memorable. Like I'm even trying to think of what happens between Eliza and the love interest there. So I can't even remember. See? That's what I mean. Is like some series I feel like the love story really, really sticks to you, and it's still yet to do that, but she's still continuing the series, so let's not jump the gun and like fully judge that yet. So yeah, that was those 3 books. Had a fantastic time with those. And then the most recent book I finished, I think I said earlier when I was doing my book haul that I haven't finished a book since the 3rd of June, and it's now like I think it's like the 28th or 29th of June. So it's been a really, really long time since I finished a book, which is honestly alien for me. But the most recent book I finished was Six of Crows. Oh. Oh, there's a bookmark in there. That's fine. Six of Crows. Guys, I can't speak. Was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I've read this before. I've read both books before, and I was just really in the mood for a reread, and it just, for me, solidified itself as one of the best YAs of all time. It's just so good. Like, I was reading it the whole time with a smile on my face. All of the characters are so well crafted. How she interweaves this series. If you don't know what it's about, basically, our main character is called Kaz Brekker. He's like a crime boss in Ketterdam, which is this Scandinavian, I think, inspired world. It's got magical elements within it. There's not many magical characters in this series, but that's okay. It's just so good. Also a heist story. So it's a group of unlikely friends all coming together to do a heist and commit crime. And it's just so entertaining. There's yearning, there's angst, there's unlikely friends, there's LGBTQ rep, and it's all so easily done, which is why I love it. I think the first time I read this book was probably like 6 years ago, and I love it even more than I read it the first time. I haven't picked up book 2, A, because I'm kind of in a slump, but not. I try not to use that word because it's really scary for me. But also book 2 is like, the ending is really sad. If you know, you know, but this book is insanely good. Like, will always recommend it. Will never have it off of my shelf. Have I don't think I've annotated this. I've underlined little bits, but no tabs or anything. It's also like all of the characters are so distinctive and their narratives are so different but woven perfectly together. And I love them all very, 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 very much. If you've read this book, my favorite character is probably Jasper. He's black and he's gay, and that's all you need to know. With that said, those are all of the books I've bought and read within the last 2 months, basically, because it's almost July. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon. And also, please leave your book suggestions in the comments. I'm open to pretty much any genre except non-fiction. Sorry about that. Anyway, lots of love to you all, and see you very soon. Bye, guys.